It is early. We have gotten really used to rolling out of bed at like 9 o'clock this summer. It is currently like 10 past 5. We are headed for Massachusetts today. The plan is to leave here. We are currently in the Basin, which is basically the most eastern part of Casco Bay. We are going to basically head out and almost due south, a little bit southwest, and we are going to go through the Cape Cod Canal and to Cuttyhunk all in one day. It's going to be a motor, and we have enough fuel to do that. We are not terribly excited that it's a motor. However, it is the first weather window of any kind that we have had in, I don't even know. It's been over a week at least. So in the summer and early fall, the predominant winds are out of the southwest here. And so basically in order to have a weather window, you have to wait for a front to come through and then the wind's back on the back side of the front. And then you can take advantage of that. Normally they come from like the northeast. Luckily for us, they're coming from the north, which should give us a little bit of an offset so that if there's any sort of wind wave, which we're knock on wood, not really expecting. It shouldn't be dead downwind. We should be a little bit offset. That should give us a little bit more apparent wind too from the little bit of wind we're expecting to see. When you get a weather window this time of year to go southbound, you take it, no matter what that looks like. So that is why we are doing a big old chunk. Technically, there is enough of a window for us to do 2 hops. The problem is that from where we are right now, our next closest hop would be like Isla Shoals, and then from there we'd have to go to P-Town or Provincetown, and then we'd have to go through the canal. So because there's only like about 11 and a half hours of daylight right now, the plan is that we are just going to do it one damn shot, get it over with. We are also, as we've said before, trying to get back to Maryland for a couple of things. One is a family wedding and the second is the boat show. So, and this week we also found out that, stupid me, totally forgot that the UN Assembly happens in September, and for whatever reason in my brain, it was the last week of September, so like, I had basically just put it out of my brain, but it's the 3rd week of September, so, we need to get through the East River and out the other side before they close the East River for the assembly. So we have a couple of longer shots ahead of us in the next week because that happens a week from today. This morning, the plan is we are going to get the main salon all set up, get dishes put away, get the table and like the air conditioner and all that stuff up into the V-berth, get all of like our comforters and our pillows and stuff out into the salon, and then Andy's going to take the dog ashore. We're going to get the dinghy up on deck, and then we are out of here. It's been a little emotional the last 24 hours about leaving Maine. I'm not going to cry this morning because I'm done crying about it, but
I may not have actually been done crying about it.
Yeah, it's a little windy this morning. We got some swell from the south coming up, and it's kind of mixing with an outbound current and a shallow water shelf. Making it a bit bumpy for right now. It's forecasted to come down a bit. They keep dropping throughout the day to almost nothing, so seas are probably around 2 feet with like a 10 to 15 second period. Much more comfortable than this morning. We're kind of just riding up them and then back down a little bit and rolling slightly. Forecast says it's even supposed to come down even further. So all in all, it's a good day. The wind today is light and variable. Right now it's coming out of the west, so kind of just off the bow here. So we're expecting it to be a motor all the way through.
Like 3 sailboats with us that are just off our starboard, and it looks like their course and our course that they're probably going to be with us all night. I think we're not the only ones taking advantage of today. You can still see just the tops of some of the hills that are in the lower part of Maine and New Hampshire, so you can still see land, but just barely. all sorts of splashes. Really hoping to see a whale today, and our best shot is probably between here and Cape Ann. So, fingers crossed. It's a little late in the season for it, but a girl can dream.
Wind's picked up again. So I'm falling off a little bit to not be going right into them. Should only be like for an hour or so. The wind is predicted, but it's kind of already coming down again. Pretty much dropped to nothing within the next 2 or 3 hours. So it might be a little bumpy for a little bit, but tonight should be very smooth sailing.
Minutes for entering the Cape Cod Canal. I don't think a single part of the forecast was correct for the last 24 hours. I'd like a refund. We started out, so forecast for basically the entire trip was supposed to be northwest winds, 5 to 10 knots, seas 2 feet or less. Started out southwest winds and southwest swell, meant we were pounding into it for the first like 8 or 9 hours, and then it did what it was supposed to do, and it like started coming out of the west-ish, and it came down to like 5 knots, and there was no swell, and it was a glorious like 4 hours. So that was like the only part I guess it did do fine, even though it was supposed to be northwest and it was west. Sometime around like 2 a.m. it switched out of the east, which there was no easterly component forecasted at all. And somehow we ended up with like northeast swell as we came like into Cape Cod Bay. And it's not even, I'm not even really sure it's swell. It's definitely like, it's very steep, whatever it is, and it's a pain in the ass. And I'm over it. So I did 4 hours at the helm with it like this. Andy's taking it back over. But I was like so nauseous. And Andy was getting nauseous down below, and the poor dog is nauseous. Not a good motion. And there was really nothing we could do about it. We sailed for a little while, but like I just couldn't get the helm balanced enough for the autopilot to take it, so I like hand steered for an hour. And then I was like, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't know. All I know is that the next like 5 minutes we need to get the mainsail down, but we have to get the jib out, because otherwise we're going to be really uncomfortable for this last little bit in. And we'll have to roll the jib up like as soon as we get into the canal, and then we're going to stop at Sandwich to get fuel and water and get the dog off to go for a pee-pee break, because he's not happy about that. And then we're going to keep going to Cuddy Hunk. Out of it, you're out of it. So we just gotta make it inside this. Harder over! Jesus. And we're in. Okay. Whew, that was good. So we are fueled up and we've got water, because we don't really know the next time we're gonna be able to do those things. We're back on the canal. We're currently doing 7.7 knots. I am not gonna film us going through the canal because we did a whole video on that. And I'm just gonna put a card right there. Right there, click on it, you can watch us going through the Cape Cod Canal the last time. So yeah, we'll see you on the other side.
It's technically Andy's watch, but I'm so tired that I don't really want to go down the stairs. So I'm just chilling up here for right now. I probably will fall asleep very shortly.
We only have like 3.5, 4 hours to go before we make it to our anchorage. You usually don't have a hard time sleeping while we're underway. Even with the engine running, it usually doesn't bother me. Whereas Andy is like the worst sleeper of all time. I can sleep basically anywhere. And I think I only managed like maybe an hour and a half last night if I'm lucky. I actually woke up at one point. I thought I dreamt it, but I just asked Andy and he said I didn't. But Andy like bumped the RPM down and apparently like I jumped out of bed and Andy was just like, "Gwen, chill, I just bumped it, it was fine." And then I just like got back in bed and fell asleep. But I think that was like the deepest point of sleep I had all last night, and then it was interrupted by an RPM change.
Once in Buzzards Bay, we had a beautiful and easy broad reach sail all the way to Cutty Hunk. As soon as we got anchors down, we took a nap because we have 2 more overnight passages coming up this week. We'll see you next time.